big up, everybody. You know what says it's your boy, Mark and MUFC fan, and it's with the daily update, guys. Match reaction. Manchester United Derby, Manchester City 3, Man United 1. It was a shocking derby to begin with, guys. We started off hot, scoring the opening goal, but then it ended with us capitulating to a 3-1 defeat. But I would say there are some positives in the game as well as there are negatives, but let's explore that. I got my buddy Drex, he's always in the building. And of course, the faithful, our buddy GB is here in the chat and he's in. Guys, let's see what's happening. Let's get right into this. I'm going to play you Eric Ten Hag's post-match press conference when we resume, but take this time to smash those likes and subscribe. And you know what? Hit those notification bells so you can see when we're live, guys. Big up. And big up to everybody. I got my buddy Drex is in the building. What's good, fam? What's good?
I'm all right. I can't complain.
Yeah, you know it is, man. It was a tough game. Let's hear what Eric Ten Hag had to say about this game, and then we'll discuss and give our opinions on how we saw the game.
At the Etihad, it's not great, obviously, for Manchester United, but how are you feeling about the overall performance?
The performance is good, but of course we are very disappointed with the result.
There was a great goal there by Marcus Rashford, so much confidence from that strike too. You've seen, obviously, the United fans erupt with that. That was the fight and desire that you spoke about.
Absolutely, and we had more our opportunities. Unfortunately, I had to take him off already before the game. He had his problems with an injury, so he fought for 70 minutes, but then I had to take him off, and same with Johnny Evans. Also, he fought to be in this game, but after, I think, 60, 65 minutes.
Bro. I don't know what happened there, guys, but that's what happening.
The person sounded like Bert from the United stand.
Yeah. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. See, no, people are gonna be crying wolf, right? People are gonna be crying. Like a lot of people actually on the social media they're actually talking as one that actually was expecting anything different, right? We all knew that's the thing that always gets me. People like to be sensational. People like to talk and be. I'm not saying don't air your opinion, but air your opinion from a place of understanding what's happening, from a place of like knowledge. This game maybe we're in this game for 79 minutes. Mark, 79 minutes we're in this game.
Facts.
We had about 10 minutes plus added time to go. We're in this game for 79 minutes. Right? And people fine, it's a shame we lost the game the way we lost, right? A lot of people were actually expecting us to get whooped 4-5. And what did we say? I said you said we could get a result. I said even if we don't get a result, I don't see us losing past a 2-goal margin. Right? I said that. I said I don't see us losing past a 2-goal margin. Right? Even if not for that mistake Amrabat made, right? And wait, we look at the way a lot of people
it's so weird. I know you're going to say
I'm just trying to keep it. I'm just trying to keep it.
What you wanted to say.
I'm trying to keep it calm, right? I'm just trying to keep.
No, because I know what I was going to say, bro. Like if Amrabat didn't make that mistake, and we say that ball the pass had gotten off, and we was on the counter, we probably could have had an equalizer in the last minute.
That's a 2-2 right there. It's a 2-2 right there,
bro.
2-2 right there,
bro. I watching the game and I watched that ball hit. I watched Amrabat get the ball, and I say, listen, flick it on one time. Don't even control. Just pass it. You know what I mean? Because I don't see in the run making. I see a man shoot off in the far corner.
That's 2-2 right there. 2-2 right there.
Bro, listen, also, bro, like, I just look at the game so objectively, because at the end of the day, as a fan, and I could see, well, right, okay, from one perspective, I don't want to lose. You know what I mean? It hurts in the heart to lose to go through that situation. But at the same time, you're looking at it from a perspective where I seen, look, we had chances to kill that game in the first half. Marcus Rashford could have had a hat trick today, right? Not to mention, it at a certain point in the game when we was 1-1, Anthony was making a run and Bruno, the ball stick under his boot. People didn't notice it, but the ball stick under his boot.
No,
And he couldn't make the pass. And then by the time he passed it, Anthony had run off, but run back on, and then the pass make. And they call it offside. We could have
kudos.
probably had a
First
goal
of
in
all,
that
I'm gonna say
situation.
this. I'm gonna say this, right? Kudos for City, right? They were relentless and all of that. But that we know that's how kudos play, right? Sorry, Man City plays, right?
Bigger box.
We didn't have first of all, sorry, I know I keep saying first of all, we don't have the players, right? That let's sit down and think about, do we have the players that really want to play this manager style of football? No. What we have is the players that actually want to kick and run, right? Now, if you're going to be playing a Man City, right, that if you're going to be playing a Man City that knows how to hold the ball, recycle the ball, and they are good with the dark arts, where if you get the ball, they'll bring you down without the referee noticing. They are good with that. They are good like that. That's why when the foul on Rashford, right, they didn't call it. I'm like, okay, I could see why the guy they didn't call it, because Man City are good with the dark arts, right? They know how to hold the ball, and when they lose the ball, they know how to foul you in areas where most of the time the referee wouldn't even give them a yellow card, right? So kudos to them. But coming back to United, right? The way the manager sets up, and when the formation, when the lineup was out, a lot of people were like, "Oh, we're gonna get run through, we're gonna get beat, we're gonna get 6-0." This a lot of high scoring game, right? I looked at the team. I'm like, if this manager sets up, let's see how he's gonna start. Let's see how he's gonna start. Because for one thing, I knew, and I applauded the manager for the fact that he didn't put Rashford up at the top. He didn't put Rashford at the top. He sent Rashford to the left wing. And I was like, okay, I was expecting you to do the same thing that you did against Forest, but bro, you switched it up, and we were going there. Like in the first half, I know Varane saved us a couple of times on Anna too, but what did we expect? We didn't have players that could actually hold on to the ball. We didn't have players, bro. We didn't have players that could actually hold on to the ball and actually keep the pressure off. We're playing as one that actually, when we get the ball, we give it back to City. When we get the ball, we give it back to City. That's not. Oh man, that's not how to play these kind of games. You need to be able to actually hold the ball a bit. You need to be be able to actually know when to pass the ball and not just lose it every now and again. Rodri was having acres of space. The pressure wasn't on him. And we know City likes to do that. I saw somebody was saying, "Oh, we couldn't put up a fight and all of that." Fine, we couldn't put up a fight, right? But if 100% Garnacho is getting burned up, yeah, I know he needs a rest, but we couldn't put up a fight. We couldn't put up a fight because we're away to City, and guess what? City knew it was a derby. They had to turn up. They increased the tempo. They had to turn up, right? So for me, it was a disappointing game, like what Richard actually said. It was a disappointing game, but not like we didn't see. This was more of, if you ask the general consensus what the outcome would be, everybody would have been telling you City would win. City would win. Only a few of us were saying, okay, we hope to get a result, right? But everybody looking at the squad, we already knew City will win. So I don't know where the meltdown is. Everybody's paying attention to the start where it's 70%, 70%, what should we call it? 73% possession to United's 26 and all of that, right? We know City can do that to you. We know City can do that to anybody, right? So, bro, it's I just wish, I just wish the, what should we call it? People cannot just be realistic and actually look at the bigger picture. Why City were grinding and City were moving up the ladder. United owners and the whole of United actually stood still admiring the ladder. We're just standing still admiring the ladder while City were climbing up. So it is bound to happen. Kishan, what are you saying?
Yeah, what's up? Good evening.
How you doing, bro?
Kind of under the weather, but I'm hanging on. Marcus.
Oh, hope it's not the game that's putting you under the weather.
No, it was before that, but
Okay. I hope.
a win would cure me. However, it wasn't the case. Heading into this game, obviously, we would have all expected a loss, right?
Hmm.
The only thing that we were praying for is that it wouldn't be a demolition job as
True.
previous times, like Liverpool or when they gave us 6-3. I
True.
think the first half in terms of how we set up, I think we were comfortable enough in terms of sending them out wide to cross the balls inside the 18-yard box. I think we were comfortable in defending that because we had the likes of Varane, Johnny Evans,
Hmm.
etc. And we made those clearances as well as Casemiro. So we had height in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
I think we nullified them in the first half. We had the goal from Rashford, and then there was a next opportunity where he tried to catch it on the volley, I believe,
Hmm.
and he kind of fumbled, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a lot of chances. So that was a next chance in which we didn't make use of. Then there was the one through to goal in which Casemiro, I mean, what's his name, Kyle Walker, kind of struck
Yeah.
him on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I think it was the right call from the referee. It was a bit soft from Rashford to go down, right?
No, but didn't you notice that the Kyle Walker's foot actually still impeded the play as well?
Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that.
Oh, okay.
I only saw the tug on the shirt, and then we had the Garnacho one
Hmm.
where. Before I go forward, do you think that was a penalty?
Ooh. See, the thing is, if it was see, I like to say this every time. If it's outside the 18-yard box, what would the referee have done? He would have called it a foul. So if you call a foul outside the, if you deem a play a foul outside the 18-yard box, why don't you deem it a foul in the 18-yard box? So that's how I always like to answer these questions, right? Because nothing's actually absolute. These referees, they're all human, everybody have their take. But some things are actually common. If you would call that, and for my in my what I've been watching football for a very long time, those kind of a play they would call it outside the 18 yard, they would call it a foul. So inside the 18 yard, it should be a foul.
Yeah, So, and I believe if it was Manchester City, to be honest, they would have gotten that call. you know. But second half, we're coming to the second half. I think we're still trying to play the same game. But I think what kind of got to us in that game is the personnel that we had in terms of substitutions, etc.
Mm,
Rashford was tired. Some of these guys were tired, so we didn't have an outlet. Look, listen, we brought
yeah,
in Anthony. The manager
yeah,
said he's the fastest over 10 yards. We know that's not true.
yeah.
So in terms of to hit them on the counter attack and have an outlet, Rashford was off the pitch. Anthony isn't the fastest.
Hmm.
Force isn't really going to make much of a difference. And
Mm,
I was of the belief, and everyone can attest to this, if you're playing against Manchester City, right, and you don't make use of your chances, once they get back a goal in the game, it's almost like
yeah,
the game is over because they're
yeah.
going to get a second goal, they're going to get a third goal. It's almost like with Chelsea when I watched them a couple weeks ago. When City got back the goal, they're thinking, oh, they're going to go on to win it. Luckily enough, it was a draw for Chelsea. You know what I'm saying? And they had
Hmm.
chances in that game to kill the game from early. So it's a brilliant City team. I think what this says to us is moving forward in the summer, we need a change in personnel. We need new, fresh blood in the team. Listen, how can we in 2024 not have options for fullback? Manchester United not have
Kishan,
options for fullback.
Kishan, you want to move the mic closer to your mouth. I think it's you faint a bit. They can't really hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I don't know. GB, can you hear him clearly? Go ahead, keep talking. Maybe GB
Yeah.
will let me know.
Oh,
Go
one
ahead.
sec. I have a microphone. I could do this.
Oh, okay. So it's for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big up yourself, Imra. Big up yourself. I know, GB. I know it's a lot. We have to just analyze the negative because I don't want to talk about the positive first. Then we end up going no. I want to do more like a crescendo kind of thing. Talk about the negative, then we would just swallow up the what should I call it, the negative with the few positivities that we got from the game. GB,
Oh, can you hear me now? Good.
you're 100% perfect. I believe. GB, what are you saying? Can you hear him loudly? It's audible, I believe.
Yeah. So, City got back that goal from Phil Foden was a good goal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And I don't think the 3-1 tells the whole story of the game. I mean, essentially, it should have been 2-1. Amrabat made a mistake and it led to the third goal. Any positives in this game? Not too sure. I mean, Onana had a good game. I think the last couple of games he's been having good games, so that's good. Johnny Evans as well. I think he did his own. He did his thing,
Mm.
right? Um, I mean, nothing much to take away from this game. I mean, Rashford scored.
Kishan, you don't think the fact that we were in this game until the 80th minute it says a lot about how the manager sets up his team, because the minute he started taking out he took a Rashford and what's his name, Johnny Evans got injured. Don't you think that at that point that changed the game kinda?
Yeah, I think it did change the game, and that's why I go back to saying, it was a personal issue in the sense that we didn't have enough quality coming on to play the same game or change anything. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because how much of
Hmm.
a difference would Anthony and Forrest make?
Yeah.
So in that sense, it wasn't so much on Eric Ten Hag. I think he set up the team well, but I mean, it's a testament that we hung on for such a long period against a Manchester City team.
Mm.
But listen, it is what it is, man. We all
Yo, yeah,
expected
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
loss.
yeah. We were expecting if what should I call it? A lot of us were expecting that, right? But
Yeah.
like you said, it is what it is. I didn't like I said, I didn't expect us to lose more than 2 goals. Andre, I did not expect us to lose more than a 2 goal deficit, right? But bro, it's a game of football, right? A lot of people actually focusing on the stat and the XG and the shots on target and all of that wouldn't make sense. All of that wouldn't count if we won the game just 1-0 and it was game over, right? So I know a lot of people like to be sensational on the ifs, the board. We should Eric Ten Hag should stay, Eric Ten Hag shouldn't stay. I just have to say this, right? I'm going to say this. If Eric Ten Hag is staying, if Ineos is sacking Eric Ten Hag, I just want people to know this. If Ineos sacks Eric Ten Hag, it's not because of the lots out there that are saying, okay, sack him. And if they decide to keep him, it's not because of the lot out there that is saying they should keep him. Whatever Ineos does, people should just know it's up to Ineos, right? But that being said, I just feel like the bottom line in this conversation is the fact that you just said it, Kishon. When we took out some players, the people that were coming on were not right, and that's the bottom line for me. We don't have the players. Papi, what are you saying?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
a big part of the why we, couldn't keep on hanging on because we're hang on FC versus Manchester City. That's the truth of the matter. So the reason why we couldn't hang on is that we don't have the depth to allow us to hang on. The
Mm,
the you know the gulf in quality is just way too big, and also we just need to really invest and invest properly. It's just like, the thing about playing Manchester City is that the last couple of times, well, not obviously they beat us when Haaland and Foden got their hat tricks,
mm-hmm,
but like I'm thinking back to the FA Cup final.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
And it also felt like we were close with the FA Cup final, because we were playing sort of like with our stronger team.
yeah, yeah.
But but we need to be better than that. It's really not the Man United way for us to be trying to survive and trying to
No,
just
yeah,
hang
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
FC at
yeah,
the Etihad. We need to
yeah.
find a way to be combative and actually compete. Look at how when you compare, just in a very simplistic way, look at the difference between Poch and Eric Ten Hag. Poch has figured out how to play the big teams
Mm-hmm,
and doesn't know how to play the small teams. Ten
mm-hmm.
Hag can more or less say he has survived a lot of the small teams and cannot figure out how to play the big teams.
No, but the big teams at home, we do. Even last season, we held our own against the big teams last season. This season,
That's
we
exactly my point.
yeah.
Holding your own. Like
No,
what?
but
What is it?
last season we beat Liverpool at home, we beat City at home, we beat
Yes,
Arsenal at home.
yes. It's exactly my point by saying that. It's like, why are we beating them by hanging on? It's like, why can we not just be the team that is the one that's dictating everything, being like, we are in control?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
are
yeah,
this is the
yeah.
identity that we're going for. Like I understand we don't have the players to allow us to do that right now, but the fact of the matter is, the the manager is not helping himself by saying this is the football that I really want to play, but I don't have the players. Right now he's analyzing the game, of course trying to protect the players, but at some point you have to sort of also give a balance to the fans and be like, hey, I'm actually, this is the bigger picture of where we're trying to go. But right now, with the tools that I have, we're only trying to hang on FC.
No, but Papi, don't you think if he says that, right? If he comes out to actually say put that kind of a statement out there, right? It actually deflates what's left of the team because you and I know we don't have the players to actually execute this manager's plan to the
Well,
team.
we're already deflated, Drex. Admiral, we're deflated. The team is deflated. The fans are deflated. Like, how much more deflating can we actually have?
Kishore, what you say? You think
Listen,
you're towing Papi's line there?
I think I was listening to the post match press conference, and I think Bruno said something similar, not word for word as Papi, but he said that the major difference in this game against City, why day one, was the quality. He used the word quality in players, right? And it almost seems to me like I'm not saying he said that. I'm not saying that he's saying that we don't have the quality players compared to City, but it puts it out there that obviously we're not at the level and we need to improve in getting some players in. But I want to make a point, right? So I was in this chat and somebody had mentioned the players that we had starting against City, and so Onana was a Eric Ten Hag signing, right? Diogo Dalot is from Mourinho, Varane is Ole, Johnny Evans Eric Ten Hag, Lindelof Mourinho, Casemiro Eric Ten Hag, Kobe Meno Academy, Bruno Ole, McTominay Academy, Garnacho Academy, and the Rashford Academy, right? And I know that there are a few players out, but if you look at the whole makeup of the team, essentially, for years when managers have um came to United, they essentially haven't really had their own team for their disposal. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like Eric Ten Hag wants to play this style of football, but he cannot against these bigger opposition teams. You know what I'm saying?
I get you. I get what you're saying. I feel like now moving on to what's Papi. Did you at least get any positivity from like what's the positive you could actually draw from today's game?
That Onana, even still conceding the number of goals he conceded today, you can still see that he has turned a corner like he's definitely gonna stay this summer. I know that there was a moment of turbulence, like that was really worrying, where you don't know
Hmm.
what his future is gonna be. But I think the direction where the wind is going right now is Onana is gonna stay, and his form has actually sort of kind of um um you know moving in the right direction. That's the one big positive. The other thing is that we survived.
Yeah,
We survived. It
we,
was
you
not
could
a 6-1.
you could say that.
I don't know if there's any Manchester United fan that really went into this thinking we're really gonna beat it. Like, we're all optimists, some of us, and we're all hoping for a good, result at the end of the day. But the truth of the matter is, we just did not, know how bad it was gonna be. We were expecting a thumping. Some of us, I thought we were gonna have to call a ceasefire, but it wasn't like that. We actually nearly had like one hand on a point, and this was for me the positive about it, that a point was not too far away. We
Yeah,
could.
it's ironically because United 10, 15 years ago used to be at this position where when we play City, right, it's we dominating in terms of when we even actually make personnel change and all of that, we have quality coming off the bench, right? Now it feels like it's the reverse, right? So Kishon, I know you said something about your few positive. Please, can you just re-echo that for us to actually now we're on the positive note. Let's just get your bit of positivity from today's game. What did you take from today's game?
Oh, so yeah, Papi mentioned Onana kind of has turned a corner in recent games. So I think, despite him conceding 3 goals. I think he kind of kept us in the game.
Mm.
And the third goal, as I said, was a mistake from Amrabat. The second goal, he got a hand to it, but it went in. The first goal was a brilliant goal. I don't think any keeper would have stopped that. So I think he had a good game. Johnny Evans had a good game as well. Obviously, he's not a long-term player, so I don't know if he'll be here in the summer. But other than that, not many positives. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we showed a bit of fight, which was good. Um, I think one of the main positives that we can take from this game is, especially when Rasmus Højlund comes back, is that moving forward against Liverpool at home, if we
Mm.
can show this fight and we can work out a game plan against Liverpool, I think we could beat them. You know what I'm saying? I don't think against Liverpool we'll sit back as much. I know that we did it at Anfield, but that's at their home. But at Old Trafford, I think we can, win against them and extend our stay in the FA Cup. So the fight that they showed was a positive as well. You know.
Guys in the chat, I actually want to hear from you too. What positivity, what positives you drew from today's game? Mark, are you there?
Big up, big up. Yeah, I'm here. I don't know how long I'll be because my laptop's been crashing on me, guys.
Oh.
But thanks so much for holding the fort down. I'm more on the positive side. I think today would be always a little bit a hard day, a hard game that we would win. And it's not because say I think Man City is like the best team in the league. I think that they are the best team at the moment. They were the better team on the day as well. I also think that Manchester United is a team that we were living on the hope, you know what I mean, and the past glories for far too long. I like the fact that you know Ten Hag came in, we got the manager that we were asking for in the time when we was asking for a new manager. And it was one of those things for me when I'm looking at it like we're in the second season of a rebuild. A rebuild we know that is taking like a super long way to get going because we didn't really see much outgoings. Ralph Ragnick said that in 2022 we should, 10 in, 10 out. We need to change the whole scene, gut the squad, surgical business. And it didn't really happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's improved a lot of players. Everyone can see that, but the drop off from the starters to the second choice players is always going to be huge, and it's always going to be unpredictable when you play youth. He has
Uh,
been using the youth, and he's been showing that he could get a tune out of them. Like, nobody believed him when he said Kobe Mainu. You know what I
mhm.
mean? I told a lot of people that in the first weeks of the season, including my buddy Jarvis here, who's just popping in the evening to you, bro. Like, I dropped the link, Jarvis. If you want to come in, you could just hop right in.
No, but
But
Kishan,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
saying, that
Finish up, Mark. Finish up, Mark.
I'm just saying it's just one of those things where the team could definitely use some players to come in and some players to leave. That's a fact. You could see it now.
Mhm.
He changed things. I never
Mhm.
expected him to play a 4-2-3, a 4-3-2-1. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So he packed the midfield, but he didn't do it like a regular 4-4-2 or like the regular five in defense or anything like that, or 5 men in midfield. He kind of played it his own way. He created a box like Jarvis was explaining on MUFC release. So for me, the manager shows he can tactically come in and set the team up to get a result. But sometimes, the players are letting him down on what he has in his arsenal due to the amount of injuries we have is one of those reasons as well. What are you guys thinking? That's just my views on the
Oh,
game.
I was gonna show. I was gonna pull up something real quick. I think there is this the because I was gonna ask. Kishan asked me earlier if I thought that was a red card, right? And I saw I actually saw a clip of the incident. I was gonna see if I could share the screen,
Yeah, share
and
it and I'll pull it up for you, bro.
let me see if I can share. Yeah, I got it right here. Uh, let's actually analyze this and see if it was actually a foul or not, right? But like, I feel like we need players, man. I just feel like we need players, man. Like we don't have no. Let me see if I'm sharing the right stuff. Mark, that's not the one. That's not the one. Sorry, guys. My apologies, please. Let me see. I think I have the different. Oh, put.
Papi.
Yeah.
Papi sound like he on a walk. You there?
Okay, Mark, can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Let me see if I could play it. Like, what's this?
نضرب الكرة.
Is that not a foul?
Well, I mean,
نضرب
look,
الكرة.
the fact that you can see clearly, you can see underneath his boots, it's supposed to be a foul,
That's
right? And he dove into a tackle, which
and
is kind of
look at this.
reckless.
Look at this one. So they're trying to compare and contrast, but I know that's a goalkeeper on the.
نضرب الكرة.
So, Mark. So Kishon,
Yeah.
having seen that, do you still think it's not a foul outside the penalty area?
No, it was inside, right? It was inside.
It
No,
was
I'm saying
inside.
it's inside, but do you
Oh,
think
if
if
it was
that,
outside.
yeah,
No, definitely. If it was outside the penalty area, it would have been a foul, and it would have resulted in a card, because we've seen across the Premier League this season and previous seasons where players make tackles like that with the studs up, following through, and they receive either a yellow card or a red card. You know what I'm saying? So just one of those ones.
all
Yeah,
right,
it's
all
tough.
right, all
For
right.
me, I would always look at those things like it's really hard. It had to be real clear and obvious, for Man United to get a decision like that because we just haven't been getting any of those things this season. I mean, if you look back to the Tottenham game when Udoji was grabbing onto Garnacho, I mean, the whole world could see that he was trying to move forward with all his energy, and he couldn't move because he was being held back. And everybody was like, "Well, that's not a foul, but
I
this
really
was a
don't.
goal."
I really don't want to dwell on this old foul officiating
Big
thing,
up
right?
to you,
I
Craig.
I just feel like moving forward, because I like the way the manager sets the team up, right? I think I would have loved Jarvis to come in and actually, because Jarvis actually cleared. He gave me a clearer view when the game started at 15 minutes into the game. It was saying how the manager went packed. He did a tactical thing with the 2-2-2 or 4-2-2-2 formation, right? And the manager locked the midfield down, forcing what we call it, forcing City to go on the wings, right? And we know with the kind of fullbacks we have, if you don't what should we call it, if you don't block they don't 9 out of 10 times, if you as an opposition team, you put a cross from the left from the wings, you would actually make a better cross 9 or 8 out of 10 times, because our fullbacks, they don't like blocking the crosses. I've seen that time and time again, right? But I feel like this squad, oh my days, we need to get if you want to get rid of the manager, might as well put the manager in an envelope and make sure when you put that envelope in the box, you also have other packages inside that box, which is the players that you'll be shipping out, right? Because we can't continue like this. We cannot continue like this. We can't take it, sack this manager, get in another manager, and still use some of these players. We can't. You could except that manager it's the best in playing kick and run, attacking counter attacking. If the manager is like the best and is a world class, they know him for that. Except that, other than that, we can't use these players to do. Pep Guardiola, right, would not this is more like a true or false question. Pep Guardiola wouldn't be able to make anything happen with this squad. True or false? Kishon, what are you saying? True or false?
Could you repeat? I didn't hear the last part.
I,
I
I
cut out.
said I said Pep Guardiola, right, with this current Manchester United team that he faced today. Do you think he can pull a magic out
Oh
of them?
no, no, could never. Not even Jurgen Klopp. No one could. Three academy players starting today. Some players were under Mourinho in this first team. So, as brilliant as Pep is, man, these players would have probably given him a headache. He's already lost his here. What else would he lose? You know.
Some
So
brain cells, some brain cells.
exactly, that would be the next thing. So, and if it was Jurgen Klopp, then he would have lost his hair and beard.
Okay, Papi, what are you saying? Is Papi still there? I think he's back at work.
I think Pep Guardiola couldn't get this Man United squad to play if we were trying to play the way that we played today. But Rafael Benitez can, Antonio Conte might, or Jose Mourinho might. It's just for me. It's just a matter of like today, the identity and some of the principles were shifted because of the
Yeah,
opposition.
yeah.
And if you're gonna play low block, counter attack, play it proper, play it well, play it in a way that you know that like okay. McTominay is now going to be moved out by a third man run, and then there'll be space for Phil Foden to cut in and really put Victor Lindelof in so much danger.
Yeah.
There's ways to actually play counter-attacking football and be really efficient with it. And Ten Hag is not the guy for it. Today he had to adjust to play it because he's a realist. He
Mm.
knows he had to. That's one way to get a result from them, but he's not the best at it. And today was a clear example. So I think Rafa Benitez today would have done a better job than Ten Hag in the way that we try to play with the
In
squad that we have.
okay. That's I know Mark is gonna say. I already know Mark's before intent and purpose. Let me just hear Mark. What's Mark gonna say?
Well, I mean, look, my boy at MUFC saying the same thing here. Jim Ratcliffe will give him another season, and if he doesn't show them sustainability, then his job might be the next one after the season ends. So in my opinion, that's the best move because, like, I think he needs time. Like, if you look at today, he really set up in a different way, and we were playing decent. For the first 25 minutes again, we was very impactful in the game, and then we just lost that energy. The extra Garnacho, I mean, he was having a decent game for me. I feel like, he started to do too much. Sometimes he had to pass the ball a little bit more, just for me. But Rashford disappeared momentously in this game. And it just shows if we had more players, like, Imran was saying earlier, we might need 6 or 7 players. We might have more backup in the midfield. Oh, big up Jarvis is coming in, so I'll bring him in right now as I'm about to finish. Big up to you, Jarvis.
Oh yeah,
Hope you're
big up
well.
Jarvis. I
And I,
was
I
I
just
was
think that,
hoping he
what,
joined.
it's not a great loss. It's not something that we should be proud of. Is We could actually be disappointed by the loss, but we could actually be a little bit understanding when you see the manager try to change things, and he really just didn't have the ability, the arsenal on the bench to give him that ability, that oomph.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things for me.
And to add to that, Mark, before I go to Jarvis, it's just like I was watching Aston Villa yesterday when they were looking for the win against
Luton.
Luton Town.
Yeah.
And, they brought on quality players, at least 3, 4 substitutions, which changed the game. For us, once again, we didn't have the personnel on the bench.
Yeah, Mark, you're gonna give Jarvis the solo layout, right? But Jarvis, you're gonna talk me because I was hoping you join, and good thing you joined.
Yeah.
Now, the manager, when the lineup came out, right? I saw your comment in the group chat, right? You were
Yeah.
like you were hoping and waiting to see what the shape is gonna be like when the game actually kicks on, right?
Mm.
And 15 minutes into the game, I think it was 15 minutes. Yeah, you also message in the group and you were like, oh, you love how he positioned, he sets up the players. Can you just walk us through from the minute where the game started until where everything went downhill for us? Can you just walk us through that and what your take, what you think happened, and how what's the positive you think you could draw from this game, if there's
Yeah,
any for you?
it's a good question, Drex, because I didn't expect us to play this lineup that we did,
Mm.
and after a while, people called it a 4-2-2, but for me, it was more like a 4-2-2-2 because we were creating the box, as I mentioned, and
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
and the toughest thing playing against City, they have no weaknesses. That's the biggest problem, but we
Oh,
gotta pick our poison in a way.
yeah,
We allow them to play and created overloads on the flanks on each
mm-hmm,
side,
mm-hmm.
and we try to lock down the central areas of the pitch, and I think
Yeah,
that was the right thing to do because that's where City are the most dangerous, and you could see they couldn't utilize Kevin De Bruyne at all today. He had a
yeah,
bad game.
yes, yeah,
And first half, also Rodri and John Stones didn't have much to do. Everything was so compact. They were
true.
surrounded by four Man United players in the middle, and we had the wingers tucking in also. And
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
played
yeah,
out on the side, the fullbacks was in a way left by themselves, and they got a little bit help. As you mentioned, you had an
yeah,
episode where I think the players were fighting. I think it was Dallo who was fighting with Garnacho because he didn't track back and help them in a situation. And but this was Ten Hag's plan, and I agree that was in a way a good plan. What we needed today was an outlet, going forward because we
oh
didn't
yes.
get any breathers at all. we were
True,
under
true, true.
constantly siege. We
Pressure,
were
yeah.
under siege all the time, and you could see it from the 60th minute. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that Casemiro's legs was starting
To
to
give
be,
in,
yeah, he
yeah.
didn't have the same tempo, when because it's no problem playing a low block, but it's about being aggressive. You have to
True.
be aggressive because the moment you get passive, you get overrun, and
Mm-hmm,
that was
mm-hmm.
what happened when especially when they scored the goals. We were overrun because we couldn't keep up, and we were tired. Just the way it is, and maybe if we had had a better bench we could put on, but there weren't much. We had Amrabat, we could
Yeah.
put on Ericsson, but we know Ericsson, he don't have them.
You don't
The
have the legs.
the
True, true,
tempo,
true.
the legs to be aggressive. So in a way, if we have had Fred on the bench today, that will be a perfect substitution to bring on to keep
Yeah.
the
Ma- um,
keep the aggression going.
Yeah, Mark, take me back. You looking at you just made mention Fred, right? So I like that you brought in Fred. Isn't Amrabat almost the same? Does the same kind of job that Fred did for us last season? Don't you
No, no,
think?
no, no.
No, it's a different. It's a different um type of what should we call it job for.
In a way, I see Amrabat more as a playmaker, the one who seeks the ball, wants the ball, turn with the ball, and especially he likes to pass right, left, and center, and distribute the passes. But another thing that's underrated with Amrabat is his ball carrying ability, progressive carries, and he
Hmm.
carries the ball up into space, and his timing when he releases his pass, it's when he receives a pressing, then he releases his pass. Because if you do it that way, it's about timing, and when you do it that way, it opens up space. Because if someone presses you, the space where they come from,
Yeah, it's open.
and this
Yeah.
is how you played. And Ten Hag, this is what he wants to do with the fluent football. It's about rotating positions all the time. So it's very difficult, and I think a lot of the players don't have a clue what Ten Hag is actually trying to do. When you have players like McTominay, he doesn't understand anything else. But today it was easy for Ten Hag. You could say to McTominay, okay, your job is to block Rodri's passing lanes. That's your job today. And
One
and
final.
McTominay, he's a loyal kind of type of guy. He's the
Yeah,
coach's
yeah,
dream, and
yeah,
he just followed Rodri all the way, and that's what
yeah.
he was doing. But on the first goal, you could clearly see Rodri took a run diagonal.
Eluded him.
McTominay
Yeah.
was following him. There was
Mm-hmm.
a big gap in the middle. Phil Foden was isolated on Lindelof one on one and just cut in and shot the ball
Short. Yeah, yeah,
into
yeah.
the goal. So it's easy to play against McTominay because he don't have the in-game, I would say,
Intelligent. I
footballing
would.
IQ to understand
Yeah,
what's
more like
actually
the
going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not to bombard you, right? I'm gonna ask you one final question before I move to the other guys. What's his name? Papi actually said that if we had someone like a Rafa Benitez today, right, with what we have now, with what the players that played today's game, it thinks like Rafa Benitez would have actually done a better job than what Ten Hag did. He's not saying Rafa Benitez is better than Ten Hag in terms of he's saying that the terms in terms of the personnel that we have, right? Rafa Benitez would have been able to, and the way we play today in terms of the low block and all of that, shutting
Mm.
the midfield out, it feels like Rafa Benitez would have done a better job than Ten Hag does. That Ten Hag did today. Do you agree with that take?
Well, I don't know what he could have done differently. Maybe put Johnny Evans on top just to, because the problem is if you're under constant pressure and siege, you need a breather sometimes, or
Yes.
or your legs will be gone. So we
Good.
needed like a big guy who could hold up the ball and just fight a little bit and let us give us a breather and move up a little bit higher up the pitch. Um, so we didn't have that today. Playing the ball to Rashford or Garnacho up front, they
Hmm.
can't hold on to the ball. They're easily just pushed off, and you can see Rashford today. Again,
Hmm.
his attitude towards the game, and he could easily have gotten a free kick right before they scored the first goal
Yes.
if he
Yes.
just had cut in front of
Of
Walker.
Walker.
Instead,
Yeah.
instead he just ran beside
S-
him and he
Straight
just touched
ahead.
him a little bit, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah. Yeah.
fell down like a sack of potatoes. It was horrible to watch. And this is Rashford. He don't have the I would say the on game IQ to understand what's actually going on, because sometimes you have to put your body on the line. You can't be afraid, because we know Rashford is always carrying injuries, and he has back problems, and it shouldn't be that hard to just take a free kick and give us a breather. But he doesn't understand that. He's only focused in his mind to try to score a goal.
Yeah, because I feel like if he
He doesn't
had like
understand what's actually going on and
yeah,
what his job need to be.
needs to do, yeah, because I feel like most of our players just feel like, okay, let me just go get a goal, right?
Mm,
Whereas you need to set up a situation where you're slowing down the pressure. If it means it means you taking a foul up in their end, or putting yourself in a position where they foul you, to just give the team a
yes.
breather, right? I don't.
Yeah.
I think most of our players don't have that intelligence in them to say, okay, you know what, we're under attack. Let me see how to reduce that thing. First
Mm,
of all, we tend to give the ball away easily. We tend to let them run through us and all of that. So I feel like we need players with the if you look at Man City players, right? Sometimes when you're attacking them, right, they know how they could be clever in how they play the dirty game. And
mm,
that's them giving themselves time to regroup, to take a breather, right? So they know how to do that thing. I think you're spot on there. If Rashford had just moved in front of Kai Walker, then the foul would have been obvious. Then the referee wouldn't have had any choice than to actually call it a foul and what's not, right? So,
mm, mm.
did you think that, Papi, are you still there? We're wrapping up the stream soon.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here. That emotional intelligence and football IQ actually. You know what's funny, that I saw Onana pull the he thinking he's in Italy and playing with all the other, like that was the dark arts that we needed when you're a goal up versus Man City. Like that's such a privilege you
mhm.
to, that you have to be figure out a way to like get into their heads
Slow the
emotionally, get
game,
into
yeah.
their head cycle, and that's part of what Onana was doing. And we just don't have the players that have that IQ. You saw last week, Maguire would rather get on a foot race with Traore than trip him when he
True.
had like that just takes IQ to be know that, oh, I mean, this is a dangerous moment. All you have to do is cause a foul so that you know that you break the play, and then you can reorganize and help your team, and that also riles up the opponent, because football is not always all just about on the pitch, not always just about tactics, but it's a psychology game too. And we just did not give Manchester City the psychological fight that they needed to be rattled, to be able to. There was a little bit of a moment where it was almost tipping towards our way when Haaland missed that sitter. When Haaland missed it, some. I bet some City players were starting to think, "Uh oh, uh oh." But
What's happening? Yeah.
because of the way we play, he just didn't give him that psychological rattling. And this is a I don't want to just say he's there's a little bit of a correlation between being 1-0 up at City. I know the stakes are different, the competition is different, but remember Ajax versus Spurs, it was Ten Hag with the lead, Ten Hag
Yeah.
and then Lucas Moura just but Lucas Moura was not brilliant because of Lucas Moura being brilliant. It was Ajax just feeding the ball back to Spurs, hearing, here you
Mm,
go at us again. Here you go at us again. And that thing of being on the ropes, and not figuring out how to actually just slow the game down, really, really make it like there are other teams that have done 60 minutes of ball in the play. I mean, ball in open play, and then the rest is just set pieces
mm.
and yellow cards. Well, I can't believe it was a derby. How many yellow cards did we get? It was
Oh my
just
God.
Varane and Eric Ten Hag. Jarvis has to say something. Go ahead,
Go
Jarvis.
Yeah, I
ahead,
just want to
Jarvis.
say Mourinho. Mourinho is a tactician, and he always talked about this football heritage. He said
Yes.
football
Yes.
heritage, and this is football heritage because we don't have the experience playing in big games like this. It's overwhelming for a lot of these players. They don't know what's actually going on. They need to learn the dark arts of football, slow down the game, like fake injuries, roll around, kick the ball away, put your body on the line, create free kicks,
Hmm?
give some kick free
No,
kicks,
no, no.
and make some things happen. And this is what our squad needs to learn, because if you learn this trick, Sevilla is the master of this.
Yeah.
Sevilla
Yeah.
and Atletico Madrid. If
Yeah.
you
Atletico.
learn this, you get a resilient team. because you are very hard to break down, because
Yo,
they
this
will
is
do
why.
whatever they can to be destructive in a way, and that's a part of football.
This is why,
Mark, go
Jarvis.
ahead.
I say things so important. Bruno. I know another people don't like him, but sometimes when Bruno rolling around and thing, one lies dark arts. Because the man is the fit monster. He's like the bionic man. He don't never get fit. So it's big for me. I just feel like today the occasion just got away from some of the players that came onto the field today, and we lost the plot. But at the same time, I saw some positives. I feel like it's not all bad because everybody was expecting us to get smashed from the get go, and we was leading 1-0, regardless of how many shots Man City was chasing the game for 60 minutes, in my opinion, and they
Yeah,
had to play the way they was playing. So hats off to the manager for the tactics that he chose, because I believe that he got it right in the first half, just like Jarvis. I just feel like, some of the players didn't keep up the intensity going into the second half because you know what is a derby. And yeah, like Drex is saying, we ain't get no red, yellow cards. That is something we should be having. 7 players should be on yellow cards. It's a derby game. You feel his kicks, Drex, bro.
no,
Like,
no, no, no. I
like
see.
if I
I
was
hear you, bro. I hear
Bro, if
you.
I was Lindelof today, boy, Foden shin pads would have been muddy
Because
because I'd have put
Yeah.
it on him every chance I get. Bro, they'd have had to give me a yellow card. I'm
bro,
telling you, from the time
you
the second half, I had to get a yellow card.
it's so funny that you say this because during the game, my brother messaged me, right, and it was like, bro, if I was in this game, Erling Haaland would be in the hospital right now.
Bro,
He said United players are playing as one that actually are worshiping and adoring these Man City players. Like, no, don't get
facts,
no
no,
injury,
no
no, we
bloody
don't want,
tackles,
I don't want
bro.
to hurt you. But I was gonna say this because we have barely 8 minutes left on the show. I was gonna say this, right? Did you guys think that the injury, because I know, of course, Johnny Evans got injured and we took him off. The manager had to take him off and put he switched, right? He sent Dalot to the left, I believe. Yeah, Dalot to the left, Kambuala to the right, and moved what's his name, Lindelof, in the left side of the defense. Do you guys think that also had a role to play in the reason why things fell apart? Because yeah, go ahead. Let me hear what you guys said.
Kishon,
Kishon.
Yeah, I'm here. Definitely. I think, as I said before, with the personnel on the bench, right? e- Substitutes are used to change the shape of a game or hold on to a scoreline or whatever you want to do with them, right? And as I said, with Anthony coming on forcing Amrabat, they wouldn't have changed anything. Especially, let me point out Amrabat for example, right? I actually don't know what Amrabat offers to this United team. I thought initially when we got Amrabat on the defensive aspect, our side of things, he would have been a prowess defensively in terms of making interceptions, screening the back four, etc., making interceptions, whatever the case may be. But he hasn't really shown that. And the common excuse for him is that, he hasn't really settled in the club. But how much more time does he need? I mean, if he had the quality, we would have seen it. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing playing in the World Cup in a couple games compared to playing in the Premier League week in week out, and he just hasn't shown it with the little opportunity he has gotten. You know what I'm saying? So I
mm-hmm.
definitely think that with not having quality players coming off the bench, it definitely threw the game plan out the window. And as Mark said, Man City for large parts of the game they were chasing the game. First half, we nullified them. I mean, yeah, they had one and two opportunities that Haaland missed, but we didn't tell him to miss those chances. You know what I'm saying? He missed those chances on his own. But overall, we nullified them. And as I said, we played comfortably knowing that we sent them out wide and they just tried to put balls into the box, which I think for some periods we defended well against. You know what I'm saying? We made a lot of clearances in the first half, etc., etc. But once again, came down to personal. You know what I'm saying? And then the game plan just went out the window.
Now, for context, right? For context, I know I'm gonna say this. Lindelof, right? Every time we play Lindelof off position, right, it takes time for him to adjust, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it. Then when we so do you? That's what I'm asking. Do you think that moving Lindelof from the left to the center back and bringing Dalot to the left back and putting Kambwala at the right back made it kind of easy for them, Jarvis? Do you think that?
Well, I'm not a big fan changing up the back four during the game. I think it's important to keep it stable, and you only do substitutions in the back four if it's extremely necessary, injuries and stuff like that. But this is a result of what thin squad. We don't have a left back, and that's a
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah,
problem. We have
yeah,
one
yeah.
fullback in the entire squad, and this is the result of club mismanagement. We had Reguilon on loan, and we just send him back, and took for granted that Luke Shaw would stay injury free for the rest of the season, and that Malasia would come back after an ACL injury and an operation, been under the knife. And we automatically expected him to just come back and play a vital part of the second half of the season. So it's very naive, and we know the people who are running our club are
Very
fucking fools
naive.
just to be right, because they
So
have
so
no clue what they are doing,
so
and
for
this is
this
the result.
in this defense, in this defeats today, everybody's got to take a bit of the blame, right? Everybody except the fans got to take a bit of the blame, because it's so disheartening to see that we couldn't even get somebody in the January transfer window. At least we know we needed bodies. We know Anthony Martial was gonna be out. So like for me, Anthony Martial is gone, right?
Mm.
But we didn't try it. At least we were sending players on loan, like you rightly said, cut short the loan players we had in regular and the rest, right? Knowing fully well that we are walking on thin ice, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that we didn't even bring a body or two into the this was exactly, I think, what happened last season. But last season was better because we actually brought where goes. Although people don't like him, but it was a body that was at least when the
And
manager looked
Sabitzer.
at the bench, yeah, he knows that okay, this guy has a little bit of quality to do what I want him to do. It's another body, different approach, right? But the fact that they didn't get anybody, I know FFP did force out, but Joe, I feel like there would have been a way to move around that thing. I feel like there's a loop. There should have been a loophole, something. It's a loan deal, right? Get somebody, and you've been freeing up the books with sending players, Medjbri and the rest out there, right? At least you should be able to. But like Jarvis rightly said, everybody would take a bit of blame in this one.
Um, could I also say something before the stream ends?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
Kishan.
You talk about positive, right? I mean, jokingly right now, the only positive from this game was that Rashford didn't get the glory to go on social media to post his pictures if we had won. Because
Bro.
after that interview, he would have definitely wanted to score and be like, oh, I am back. This is who I am. So, despite him scoring, I mean, props to that. Not saying that we should have lost, but you know what I'm saying? I couldn't bear to see Rashford going on socials, posting pictures, talking about, his back and whatever the case is. I'm tired of players living off the platform that United provides them to have a brand, etc. You know what I'm saying? I need players to care. I think Mark who was the one mentioned Lindelof. He would have had Phil Foden with his studs dirty. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about physicality, commitment, the mentality, it's lacking from this United team. We're not physical. It's men versus boys at this moment in time. You look at the likes of Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne compared to Kobe Mainoo and Casemiro, who is coming to the end of his career, and Bruno Fernandes, who's a crybaby who rolls around. Just look at the character of those players and the mindset. We need a complete overall.
Facts.
It was. I think it was Papi that mentioned. I just lost my train of thought. I know. Someone actually mentioned the fact that we don't have it. Like, yeah, this is it. Yeah, our players, other than Varane and Casemiro, right? None of them have actually won anything major. If you dip it down, okay, Martinez is out, obviously. None of them, the other ones, none of them have actually won anything major in terms of competition, major competition, right? Champions League. And none of them have actually done it. So, and this is a City team that actually won the Premier League, the Champions League last season, and the FA Cup, right? And they the same team has won it the 3 years in a row. So I feel like, I think it was Papi that was saying, I feel like we really need mentality in this team. We really need people that would give a fight, be it whether we are playing Luton Town or we are playing Man City or Liverpool. Like, we need people to turn up week in, week out, not select games to actually want to play in terms of giving the effort and all of that. That being said, I'm going to ask you guys to actually give us maybe your final words before we close the stream. I'm going to start with you, Kishon, on my left, I believe.
My final words will be, you talk about the mentality thing and not having winners. I was thinking, if Leverkusen goes on to win the league this season, I think, that should be a club in which we're looking at some players to get into United. Also about the mentality, if you look at Arsenal in terms of how their squad is constructed, I mean, not everyone has won a trophy there, but they brought in the likes of Gabriel Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
Zinchenko, Saka, and few others won the FA Cup, etc. So they have a mentality to know what they're fighting for. With us, it's almost like some players are just lucky to be at the club, so there's nothing to fight for most of them. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you, bro. I hear
So
you.
that's just basically my final thoughts, and let's see what the rest of the season brings.
Papi, what are you saying? But
So I'm saying clear out the dead wood. There's a
all
lot
right.
of dead wood that is preventing us from reaching our ceiling.
Mm.
And the the way to go about it is very simple. We have
Yeah.
to just pretty much just be ruthless in the
Yeah.
transfer window,
Yeah.
but also we can't be too erratic. We have to take a page from other clubs that have done mass exodus, and we have to be systematic and know that it's going to be a patient sort of like rollout. So
Transition.
so we yeah, that's just my take on it. We have to be very 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 tactful in how we do it, and it's a good thing we have some guys that are claims to be really good at what they do. So this is really the job. The stage is set for them, the
All
Omo
right.
Beradas and the Mendem.
All right. My final take before, because I'm do my final take and I go to Jarvis and I have Mark close up the show. My final take would be, guys, we have Papi just talked about patience, right? Clear out the dead wood. We know it's not gonna be like a lump sum, right? So we're just gonna be maybe systematic about it. But I feel like if we get the dead wood out and replace them with players of quality and players of high intellectual quotient, right? IQ, and not just having football IQ, know when to, like what Jarvis has said earlier, know when to draw the foul, know when to hold the ball, know when to be in front of your man, know when to actually pass rather than try to take the glory, right? So if we replace them with such players, I think we should be with Eric Ten Hag. I still give him a one, still let him run out. They'll go into the last year of his contract and see what he offers, right? If he doesn't, fine. For me, that's the approach I would go, and I urge everybody. I know it's hard, it's very difficult, right? I urge guys to just be patient, and once we start seeing this deadwood out, right, then we see what the manager can offer to us. If he's not doing it, then we can say, okay, you know what? I think it's time to call for the managers. That's my final take. Jarvis, what's your final take?
Yeah, my final take. I saw a lot of people were criticizing Garnacho. He's not good enough. Blah 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 blah. We have seen youngsters now. Mainu didn't have his best game. Hoylund is injured, but we have a lot of young players, and I think it's up to us to protect them. I think we can't accept the fan base going against Garnacho and players like them, because they shouldn't play every game anyway.
True.
This is Ten Hag's responsibility. When we see Garnacho today, we know he runs his socks off every game. He plays almost full 90 minutes. He's 19 years old, for God's sake. Give the kid some slack.
Yeah,
And we can't expect a 19-year-old to perform at the highest level
this level.
every game. And for me now, I see an injury coming up with Garnacho. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks. It's time to start to rest these young players, and Ten Hag needs to learn from his earlier mistakes, because you need to learn on the job. He's repeating the same mistake. He's playing the players down to the ground, and we see the burnout and injuries. And I'm really worried about Mainu. I'm worried about Garnacho. You
Ganacho.
see Hoylund, and this will affect us coming into next season too, if he goes
If you
too
don't
hard
check it
now.
now,
So
yeah.
especially on the young kids, so Ten Hag just need to loosen a little bit up and try to rotate his team. We have Ahmad Diallo, for example, on the bench. Why not play him one game instead of
Yeah, instead
Garnacho?
of Ganacho. I hear you. I hear you.
And
I
I
hear you.
think the fans would accept that. We know
Yeah.
our limitations when it comes to
True.
this
True.
squad,
True.
but I think a lot of people feel that Ten Hag is too stubborn in his way, and this is also one of the reasons people don't like Ten Hag. They want him out because they see him repeating the same
Too,
mistakes
yeah,
over and
too
over again.
rigid.
And,
Too
and and this
rigid,
is a
yeah.
problem, because I fully accept him to learn on the job. He's new to the Premier League. He's coaching in his second season, and And even Pep Guardiola needed a year to learn the Premier
To
League,
adapt, yeah,
to
yeah,
adapt. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mark, you take.
Big up to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Jarvis, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Keyshawn, my bro, thank you so much. Papi, thanks for dropping in. Drex, thanks for running the stream for me. Been experiencing some technical difficulties, guys. But yeah, I agree with all of what you guys are saying. I just think that, you know what? It's one of those things where he we would all have probably expected the first season to be what we're getting this season, but we didn't get that. We got results, and then the season we're getting what we would normally expect in the first season of a new manager implementing his system. So it's tough, but yeah, the clear out is needed. I think the team will go forward from here. We have a basically kind of easy run in the next 4 games because we face teams in the bottom half of the table for the next 4 games, and then FA Cup Liverpool 1 game, then Liverpool right after. Then another 4 games we play bottom half table teams, and then is the 3 teams at the top. We play in back to back to back. So, in my honest opinion, looking forward to what we have in the next 11 games. We just had to really worry about, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Brighton, and Liverpool and Arsenal and Brighton are the last 2 games of the season. So, you know, if this United team in the next 6 weeks could get back players from injury, and like Hoyland coming back in will be a massive boost to the attacking front line. If we could keep up this kind of defensive work and create the same amount of chances, I think with Hoyland up front, we would guaranteed at least score at least 2 goals in every game because he creates one for himself and then it boosts the team to want to score another goal. So it's tough, right, as a fan right now, but the patience is necessary, and I think that's the only problem. Like, I might not agree with all Ten Hag choices, but everybody knows I'm a Ten Hag inner, and at the same time, I'm always super positive. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I don't question some of his choices. I would like to see Ahmad get more time as well. I am an Anthony fan, but I think Ahmad need to get some more minutes. I would like to see what he could do because everybody talked about how good he could be, so I want to see that. I think over the next few games, I would like to see him rotate a little bit more because, like Jarvis is saying, I'm worried about next season's burnout,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what we
yeah,
had this season. So
yeah.
it's one of those things. And thanks to everybody coming in the chat. Big up to all of you. Craig Warby, Yali Malmeen, Imran Khan, Tony Cloud Gunner is in here. Big up to you, Box. Big up to you. You know what I mean? Thank you for coming in. And
GB.
Craig, hear me, Craig. Claude was saying earlier, he said they beat City twice this season. And then he said, you know what? Maybe, we'll have to go. Arsenal will have to go and kill City at the Etihad for us. So, big up to you, Claude. I'm not going to say that I hope Arsenal wins the league. You'll never hear that from me, but I certainly don't want City or Liverpool to win it. So, take that as what you will. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys for coming in. Hope you guys have a great night. It's a loss today, but you know what? The future could still be bright with the structure coming in and the possibility of a new system, and players coming back from injury and a few easy games coming up. In my opinion, you know we should be doing a bit better. So guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe, share it around. It's been your boy, Mark, and MUFC fan with Jarvis Cocker from MUFC Realist TV, 433 Presser. Keyshawn is always here. Botswana Papi from, Football Power. And big up to Drex, my buddy, was holding the fort down from D Hub TV. Guys, thank you very much. Big up to all of you.
All right.